Hello, everyone. Welcome. Come on in. We are so glad that you were able to join us today for Webinar Wednesday. We are in a fairly new platform using Zoom webinars. So if you've joined us before and it looks a little bit different, that is why. So I'm going to vamp a little bit while some folks are getting logged in. And before I introduce our panelists, I do have my usual housekeeping reminders, which is that we are recording. So you can watch this again later, or you can share it with your colleagues, whatever works. And you do have the ability to ask us any questions throughout this. So if you think of something, please add it into the Q&A panel, and we'll save some time at the end to do a live question and answer session with our panelists as well as some additional experts. So we are super excited that you all can join us today as we're going to be highlighting one of our development partners at Mackin. And at TLC, we understand that a true integrated library system does include integrations with some of our other vendors and making it simple for our users to be able to link between different different vendors and different platforms. And so many of our customers do purchase physical and e-resources from Mackin, and we are excited to be able to demonstrate just how seamless that process is once you get those titles back over into LS2. So I'm joined today by by TLC's product marketing manager, Ashley Chassé, and by Mackin's director of digital services, Mesa Heise. Welcome both of you to our webinar today. And as folks are getting settled, I do have a poll that I want to launch as well. So in just a moment, you will see a poll come up on your screen. I kind of want to get a feel for who is here and whether or not you've used some of our products before. So check all that apply if you purchase from Mackin, if you use Library.Solution or Carl Solution. I know we've got some folks from both companies joining as well, but looking forward to seeing who's here. Give that a moment to launch. Right. Yeah, and as a reminder, if you have any questions, add those into the questions panel and we'll get to them at the end. All right, it's about a quarter split. Yes, we purchase. Yes, our ILS is Library.Solution or Carl Solution, and quite a bit are neither, just here to learn, which is great. Welcome. Hopefully we can show you some cool items today. All right, the next thing we will talk about is what that connection looks like. So before I pass it over to our panelists, I just wanted to highlight some of those company attributes. So with Mackin, we have a very comprehensive integration into Mackin's system. And so that includes things like MARC record import, circulation and availability, all of that SIP authentication, SSO authentication, and of course, user management. So we have connections for all of these pieces built into the platform. But today we are just going to focus on those first two items. So getting those MARC record imports and showing the circulation and availability into the platform. So if you want another webinar on the authentication piece or the user management system, let me know in the question and answer panel and we can get that scheduled eventually. All right, I'm going to pass this over to Ashley to give us an update on what that looks like in a little bit more detail.
Thank you, Ria. So today we're going to talk about the process starting with Mesa over in Mackin to purchase titles, and then explain a little bit about what the process looks like from getting the MARC files that are produced over at Mackin into LS2 cataloging so that they can be published in LS2 pack. It's that simple, and we'll show you what that looks like. And so I'm going to pass it over to Mesa now, who's going to go into the Mackin side of purchasing titles.
Thanks, Ashley. Let me just share my screen quickly. All right. So this is Mackin.com, and this is where you are going to do all of your purchasing. Before I show you exactly how to make a list, I just want to kind of run through all of the things Mackin does for those of you that maybe aren't familiar with Mackin. We are going to focus more today on our digital platform, Mackin Via, but we also sell thousands of library resources from different areas. Whatever you're looking for, we predominantly do K through 12. We work with some higher ed as well, but we do free collection development. We have lots of resources on our website for librarians to utilize, including reviews, and I'll show you where those live. We also work with many classrooms and curriculum departments, and so we do a lot of customizing. And sometimes this is working with the librarians, because typically the classroom teachers will come to the librarians and ask for help. So we do a lot of customizing with classroom libraries, summer reading, take home summer reading bags, or just take home all year summer or reading bags. We do a lot of leveled libraries. If a book is leveled, we have that available through the MARC data. And then Makerspace. So we do work with hundreds of Makerspace providers. And this benefit to librarians and educators, because it really curates everything in one place. So instead of having to go to all of these different companies and cut different POs for different individual products that they're selling, you can come to Mackin and we'll curate everything for you, and you can purchase everything on one PO. We also do a lot of customizing with our Makerspace products. So we do create take and make kits, which is a book and a product combined for students or teachers to take to their classrooms. And then we have gamified kits. So definitely check out all of our Makerspace products, because there's a lot of really great things that we've done. So up here, I just want to point out, this is where you can find all of the specific areas that we focus on. So if you're looking for ebooks, you're looking for audiobooks, databases, we do sell all of these resource types. And then we have tons of help information for you to get started, or to just advance your usage of your ebooks. Print, and this is going to be all of our library and print materials, classroom services that we offer, and then Makerspace. One thing I want to point out, this browse titles, this is a great place to kind of get started with Mackin. And so what we've done is we have the best of Mackin. And so these are lists of titles that our team has curated for you to take a look at. We've reviewed all of these books through review journals, and they're just great places to get started when searching for actual books on lists. I also want to point out the review journals. You can definitely look in Mackin.com and find what you're looking for. So if I click on a review journal, it's going to bring up a list of all of the editions of the review journals. And it's really going to give you a really great place to start browsing based on reviews that were done. So just a couple things. If you're looking for custom lists to create, we do that for you too. So if you say, well, I know maybe what my project is, maybe what my budget is, and what I'm looking for, we will do it for you. We have hundreds of people on staff who are mastered librarians, teachers, educators. And so we can definitely help you curate, and we do all that for free. All of our processing, our cataloging is all free. All of these extra custom services are all free as well. So let me just show you quickly, how do you search for a title? So if we go back here and I get into Mackin.com. So I've already logged in. If you don't have a login, when you hit that shop button, there'll be a register button. So just create an account. It's really easy. And then once you get in here, there's a search bar. So you can start searching for something you're looking for, or you can browse some of our title lists down here. So let's just look for something. It does autofill. So if you don't really know exactly what you're looking for, you can start typing in words, and it will start giving you suggestions. So in here, maybe now I know I want ebooks. So I would select Mackin via ebooks, and then maybe I know that I want ebooks that have Alexa level. maybe I want to make sure that my ebooks are multi-user. So you can tell by these numbers that I'm getting down, I got 11 titles available. And when I click into a book, there's lots of information as well within the full record of the book. So you can get a summary of the title, you can get information about licensing and access, about the actual ebook. And then if there's any reviews or anything that's connected to like genres or types of books, those will also be in here. So let's just say I really do want this book. And what I need to do next is say, well, I want to add it to my list. Now I have a list already created here, but if I wanted to create a new list, I could just put spring 2023. I'm going to say this is for library circulation. And you can see, you can fill in all this other information if you'd like, but you don't need to right away. So now it says, okay, this is my list that I've created. I'm going to add this book. And so now you can see that it's one item and the list has updated. If I wanted to go see a list that I've already created, I can click into that list and you can see here I only have 2 titles in this list, but I'm able to see my full price and I can go into different types of areas. So if I wanted to see a summary of this list, there's lots of cool things within the summary. Now, because I only have 2 titles in here, you're not going to see as much, but you can see, you can actually look at genres, different types of things. We also have tagging of these books that our professional librarians have done. And so let me go back into this list. And let's just say I'm ready to order. All you need to click is order now. And as you can see up here, you just go through these little breadcrumbs to complete your order. And once you've placed your order, then I'm actually going to pass it back to Ashley to show you what's actually going to happen after that. Let me stop sharing my screen. Oops. If I can find it. There we go.
All right. Thank you for showing that. It's really simple and quite elegant. And so in the process from going from your purchase order and submitting it to Mackin, we're going to now go into the process of what it looks like behind the scenes to get those records into LS2CAT. So what happens is actually all behind the scenes. Mackin will produce or process your order and then produce the records for your for the catalog. Once those records are ready and available, they're going to submit those to an FTP server. That enables TLC's sidestep process to come into play. So what sidestep does is it reaches out to that server periodically, and it'll look to see if there's any new files. Once they recognize there's a new file and it is associated with a specific library, it's going to show up here in LS2CAT as available to import. So here, you'll see the notification that the purchase order file has been, or the invoice has been processed and the MARC records are ready. You click on that, you're going to see the information that the invoice is here and ready for Washington. Here we have the display of the information related to that invoice, including the invoice number, so that you can match it against the invoice in Mackin, the location, the number of titles, and then the file. Once you hit import, you're going to see that nice, easy processing information, the settings that you'll be able to use, including making the titles available now, in processing, the title state of whether or not they're published or in draft, any existing title options, if there is a specific title space that you would like to add it to, and this is all pertinent to LS2, our library.solution for schools, and then what to do with the authority verification. Once you've set those up, you'll go into the location and we can select location groups that we've already created for our school and what location groups those are associated with. can also include additional if you choose. And then we continue to review. Once we're looking at the review process, we see the import of the file, so we know what name it is. We know if the titles will be available or in processing, the locations, the groups, and then we're good to go. We start the import, and depending on the size of the file, will determine how long it takes for that record to import. Once it does import, we can go to our title spaces, and when it's ready, those titles will display here in our Mackin VIA title space, and that'll allow you to do any editing of your records, add any additional information, and so forth. And that's it. You're ready to go. And so we're going to go into PAC now, because we want to talk about the full integration of what it looks like to have Mackin records in LS2 PAC. So for libraries, for schools that have e-integration for borrower services, which is an optional paid service for our customers, you can have an additional set of features that will allow you to not only check out items directly from PAC, but return and renew them without having to leave the LS2 PAC interface. Not that we discourage you from going into Mackin VIA, because it's absolutely beautiful, but this is to simplify the process for your students in order for them to just be able to quickly grab things and go. So right here, looking at some titles, looking at some things I might want to check out, and I go to the blast from the past, and oh, great, because I love Dracula. If anyone knows me, I'm big into Dracula. Click onto the title, and I'm going to see some basic information that's being pulled in, and then I see a download button. It'll tell me that the title is available from Mackin, and I simply hit OK. And there it is. I have the option to begin the download now, or I can download it later. Download later just means that when I'm ready to read the title, I can go into my account, go to my account activity, and see any titles that I have that I've checked out and click download. Clicking download will load that title in the Mackin VIA reader interface. With any of those already included options, I click close. It'll bring me right back to LS2 PAC, where I can then return an item early. And when the title is up for renewal, you'll see a renew button that shows up. I also have the option of bulk renewing any titles if I choose. And once all of that is done, it'll automatically return the titles, renew the titles, update all that information in your Mackin VIA account so that it is completely up to date. These titles can also be added to lists, and they can be added to your carousels. You can see here, right on LS2 PAC homepage. And when I say it's that simple, that's it. The process is seamless. When those files are placed in there from Mackin, TLC's sidestep will pick it up, like I said, notify the catalogers that it's available, and they'll be able to do their typical processing of those records and then pop them into PAC when they're ready. And one thing I do want to mention is, setup. So for setting up your Mackin API integration, it's very simple, and the lovely folks at Mackin, all they need is a simple email and some information about your school to begin that API integration process. You can reach out to TLC support to ask more information about the e-integration for borrower services if you don't already have that enabled. And that works with a variety of our third-party partners, not just Mackin. All right, so I believe, Ria, we have another poll.
Yeah, actually, I'm going to pause on the poll for just one moment because I do want to show what this looks like once someone has downloaded the e-record. So I'd like to
Sure.
pass it back over to Mesa to show some of the really cool features that you're able to do once you've brought up that ebook.
Before we do that, it looks like Ingrid would like to see the MARC record for Dracula. So I can go back and do that really quick in LS2 Cat. Oop. Here we go.
I do have to say, the records will all be different depending on what your specs are with Mackin. We customize all the records. So just something to note when you're looking at the record, it's just going to be dependent on what your speculations are for each MARC record.
Mhm. Exactly. And then with the options that we currently have in our MARC editor here in LS2 Pack, it'll bring over all that detail that's already in the Mackin record when it imports, and it'll display here.
Looks good. Ingrid, I hope that answers your question. Let us know if not. And
And
yeah,
now we'll pass it back to Mesa.
thanks, Ash.
Awesome. Thanks, Ashley.
No problem.
Okay, so once you click and download the ebook from the catalog, which I do have to say our integration with TLC is really amazing. Showing the availability within TLC is just, it's phenomenal. So it's very nice to have, so you don't always have to go into the book, and you can always just know, hey, this is available, this is not available, this is when it's due. So lots of really great information we've worked on together to create the best experience. So this is an ebook that I just popped up, but I just really wanted to show you all some of the different tools within these ebooks. So I'm just going to jump to chapter 1. And when I click in the middle of the page, you'll see a little bar that shows up with some more tools. But one thing I wanted to note is that we allow for highlighting, note-taking in all of the ebooks. So once you purchase an ebook, all of these tools come with it. There is a dictionary embedded right within the platform with an audio component.
Whisper.
So that's really awesome. And you can do a lot of different things within how you're reading. So let's say that, this is great for some people, reading 2 pages on a screen, but maybe you really would rather read 1 page at a time. You can switch that. You can also switch the font and the text size. So let's say, the publisher published it in this font, but I don't necessarily love this font, or it's really hard for me to read. I can change it to a different option that's available down here. Maybe I want to increase the font size because I like reading with a bigger font. This is a great option too. So I can increase the font size. Another tool within here would be changing the background. If you would like, sepia or black and white. A lot of people like reading black and white now. All my screens have black backgrounds. You can also increase and decrease the brightness of the screen. So lots of really great tools just embedded right within the actual ebook. One other thing I want to show you is in this toolbar that I hopped into right away is the table of contents, so you can jump to different chapters. We also do embed citations in all of the ebooks as well, so you can get access to that easily. If you'd like to bookmark pages, that's really quick and easy. You can just bookmark, and then in your notebook, you can always come back to any places you took notes or highlighted, or any places that you bookmarked. So if you're doing a project and you want to jump back into different spots, you can do that. I also wanted to point out our audiobooks, excuse me. So our digital audiobooks are also have become very popular. They're like basic audiobooks, you can increase and decrease the speed of the playback. You can jump forward, jump back, and let me just play this.
Listening Library presents The Trials of Apollo, The Hidden Oracle by Rick Riordan.
So obviously it just started. If with the ebooks and the audiobooks, wherever you ended and you left the book and you came back, it would always remember where you ended as well. Again, citations are embedded in the audiobooks. You can bookmark spots within the audiobooks as well. This is nice for teachers, I've heard, where they want to play certain passages from the audiobook within the class. So they can take a bookmark on certain spots and then just jump right into what they want to play within the class. So those are some really, really quick tools on things that are available with the ebooks and the audiobooks. There's much more, but for the time being, I just wanted to kind of point out some of those cool features that are all, again, they're all part of the book when you purchase it. So you don't have to, there's no add-ons to the actual platform. So I'll pass it back to you, Ria.
Yeah, that looks really great. I love the ability to just change the font on that too. I know with some of those readers with dyslexia, it makes it nice to be able to change that and update it to something that's much friendlier on the eyes. So thanks for showing that. While I still have you spotlighted here, would you mind talking through the difference between Mackin.com and Mackin Via and some of the other options that folks might get with that Mackin Via platform?
Yeah, so Mackin.com is our e-commerce site. So that's where you're going to purchase anything you need for your library or your classrooms. That would be where you would actually purchase the ebooks. Once you purchase the ebooks, we will send them over to TLC and you will have access to the actual ebook. We do have a platform as well that you will have free access to. It's called Mackin Via, and within the platform, that's where the students can access. So I would say Mackin.com is going to be more of your buying side, your Amazon side, where you're going to purchase everything. And then Mackin Via and all of the ebooks would be what the students are accessing after the purchase has happened.
Great, thank you. And Ash, I have a question here for you. Can you talk more about that e-integration for borrower services and what all that entails?
Of course. So e-integration for borrower services is an enhanced API connection that enables libraries to present those extra options beyond availability for returning, checkout, and for renewing titles. That is, like I said, that is an additional option and you can definitely reach out and ask a little bit more or ask your support rep about enabling it. It is available for not only our Mackin titles, but also for Overdrive titles. And I believe Cloud Reader, I don't remember. I'm so sorry. That just slipped my mind right there.
Yep, Baker and Taylor is the other one as well.
Thank you.
Yep.
And yeah, so it is a great service that you can use to really make it so that your students and your staff and your patrons don't ever have to leave the pack as they're browsing and checking out e-titles. But those titles, once they're checked out, are still available and still display in the Mackin Via account, so that they're never disconnected from those two services. They're always integrated.
Perfect, thank you. All right, so we will kind of move more into our Q&A section as well. Those were some great questions that have come in so far. While you are all thinking of additional questions that you may want to ask, we have a poll for you that'll pop up on your screen in just a couple of moments. And this is whether or not you want more information. So if anything that we've talked about today you'd like to learn a little bit more about, please go ahead and hit that yes. If you wanted to get e-integration for borrowers hooked up, you can hit that yes button. If you wanted to connect that API with Mackin so that there is that seamless integration, hit that yes button. We will be able to take care of that for you. All right, I did see a couple other questions come in. So while that poll runs up, let me go ahead and ask these. So Ashley, you did say, how long does it take to process those records from Mac? Actually, this might be a question more for Mesa. Once they've purchased all of those titles, how long does it take before those show up in the title spaces or alerting the cataloger that they're available?
Yeah, so once the purchase has happened on Mackin.com, it does take a couple days for us to create MARC records and get all of your information together. So it will take a couple of days before we get it over to TLC to get it uploaded.
Okay.
Once it's uploaded to the FTP server, our sidestep process will check every couple of hours to see if there's any new records, and then the record being associated with the FTP location will trigger the notification in LS2 cataloging.
Thank you. And to get a follow-up to the previous question about looks like the MARC records again, about showing the records in the MARC field or the MARC tags, it looks like.
Sure.
Yeah, Ash, do you want to speak to that?
Yeah, so I can show you real quick. If you go with the LS2 cataloging, we do have a MARC view of the records so that you can see that traditional MARC view. Because we're a natural language editor, we do what's called form-based editing. So you can go in and then begin to edit your MARC record from there.
Thank you. I'm not seeing any other questions coming in so far. We do have a couple extra minutes on here, and I know we have some of our other experts available as well. So I did want to open it up to make sure that, if there's anything else that you all wanted to talk about, please be sure to unmute. You're welcome to join. I'm throwing the spotlight on them. They didn't expect me to bring them in without asking them a question.
Ria, I can say something that I
Yeah,
just
please.
thought of real quick. So we spotlighted Mackin Via today and all of the digital resources. This does also work with physical items or physical books that you order from Mackin. So if you don't do e-resources, the seamless integration of the MARC files from ordering from Mackin.com into LS2 cataloging, even if you just order physical books from Mackin, they still will send us the FTP the file, and you can still do your seamless MARC record import for physical titles as well.
Perfect. Thank you, Kristen.
Mm-hmm.
We'll give it just another moment. Looks like all those questions have been answered so far. I'll give my usual housekeeping, which is that this is recorded. So if you think of something later, you want to rewatch it, it'll be available tomorrow at tlcdelivers.com/webinars. And you'll also get an email reminder letting you know that it is available to watch. That also has a link to our info@tlcdelivers.com email address. So like I said, if you do think of something or you want more information after the fact, please go ahead and get to us there. But otherwise, I haven't seen anything else come in so far, but I think that this is, it really speaks for itself of the amount of seamlessness that takes place. So I think it's cool to be able to get all of those titles picked out in Mackin. And Mesa, thank you so much for showing that and showing all of the features that are available and all of the great materials that you offer there too. And then, it's just a quick jump over to LS2 cataloging to be able to publish those to the pack and then seamless downloading. So thank you all for participating in our webinar today. Ashley, thank you for showing us how seamless it is. And Kristen, thanks for your additional comments at the end as well. It's always good to know that it's more than just e-resources. All right, nothing else has come in so far, so I'll go ahead and let you all have some more time back today. Thank you for joining us, and we will see you on our next webinar.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.